Great to be here this Friday morning in behalf of all the citizens of Greenville to say thank you to the greater Cleveland family, I guess I should say, in this ceremony today for what's described on the plaque as the unselfish donation to the city and the people of Greenville back in the 1920s of what became Cleveland Park. And it's great to hear about an unselfish act on any level, but especially something like this. It's particularly fitting too that we're doing this now at this particular time because this year, the city of Greenville has launched the greatest upgrade and improvement project in Cleveland Park in probably 50 years anyway, with the renovation of the park and trail system that's now underway through the park, in addition to a lot of other improvements that have finally been made in this park, because I think all of us in the city recognize that Greenville would not be Greenville without Cleveland Park. It's really one and the same. And the inspiration from this park has in turn led us to create Falls Park at the Reedy, and hopefully in the future more green space for Greenville, because that's really what it's about as we look in this growing community to maintain green space, because that's what quality of life is all about, especially in a place that's growing as fast as Greenville. So it's all very important, and how great it is to think that back in the 1920s, what was the year, 1926? 28, missed a year. In 1928, the people had that kind of insight and that kind of vision, and it's up to us to carry that vision forward in this century. And that's why we're here today, too.
First, I wanted to say that parks don't happen by accident. They happen as a result of vision, intent, and passion for the greater good of the community. And that's really what I wanted you all to understand today, is how Cleveland Park really is an important link to the park system across the country and the parks movement that began in this country really at the time of the Second Industrial Revolution between the 1800s and late 1800s and early 1900s. Visionaries needed to preserve land for our developing nation, particularly in the urban communities. And this first occurred in New York City, where William Cullen Bryant and Frederick Law Olmsted worked to secure the 850 acres of land that's now known as Central Park. So if you go to Central Park, you can see how the city is built up around it. And thankfully, we had people who were visionaries who preserved that land. And to quote Mr. Olmsted, and what the intent of that park was, and really what the intent of urban parks are throughout the community, throughout the nation are, we want a ground to which people may easily go when their day's work is done, and where they may stroll for an hour, seeing, hearing, and feeling nothing of the bustle and jar of the streets, where they shall, in effect, find the city put far away from them. So while New York City had Bryant and Olmsted, and Atlanta had L.P. Grant, who donated the first 100 acres of parkland for Atlanta, Greenville had William Choice Cleveland. Greenville was known as the textile center of the South during the early to mid-1900s, and the city saw a rapid population growth. In 1870, Greenville had 2,700 residents. By 1900, the population was at 11,800. And by 1908, more than 30,000 people lived in Greenville. So you can see how rapid the expansion is. So again, the visionaries who understood that city residents needed an escape from those urban pressures, the noise, the hardscape, they really set out with intent to preserve public space for the community. Again, William Choice Cleveland was one of those visionaries. And really part of his family in 1884, Caroline Cleveland Choice, donated the first tract of land now known as McPherson Park as a city park. So it's not just Mr. Cleveland, but his family as well before him. And he donated this land, 126 acres that we now know as Cleveland Park, in 1928. And today we know Cleveland Park is the largest and busiest of the city's 40 parks. It's home to the softball field, tennis courts, our dog park, picnic shelters, the Major Rudolph Anderson Memorial, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, a significant section of the Swamp Rabbit Trail, which the mayor mentioned is currently undergoing a $1.1 million investment. And of course, the Greenville Zoo, where more than 270,000 people visit this annually, and a great number of our zoo staff are here to join us today. And the wonderful playground behind me, which some of our consultants that we work with say that this is the busiest playground that they have seen in the nation in terms of their work. It really is one of the busiest places I've ever seen. Mr. Cleveland's gift of land has evolved over the years. However, it will always remain the cornerstone of the city's park system and have an important connection to the larger park development movement that took place across the United States. Everyone here today, we are stewards of Cleveland Park. And while we're here to unveil a plaque that shall forever be prominently displayed, we're also here to restate our commitment to the preservation of Mr. Cleveland's important gift to the citizens of Greenville.
This project was special to me also. I'm not from Greenville, and one of the reasons my wife and I moved to Greenville was because of this park. And being a park and recreation professional, this is an awesome facility. And being able to work and play in this park is a wonderful experience. Some of the impacts that Mr. Cleveland had on this town was, you know, his donation of land was the first step in park development for this area. And, you know, we basically had a domino effect from that, and as we look at all of our other great facilities, this was the keystone piece that really triggered that emotion. I don't see how the city of Greenville can adequately express our thanks to the family for his donation, but I see this plaque as a way for us to try to attempt to do that, because the impact that this park has on this community is tremendous. And I kind of look at Cleveland Park as a living memorial to Mr. Cleveland, and this is a small way for us to show the community and others that they can walk by and get a visual expression of our thanks to him.
My grandfather would be pleased to know that his gift to the people of Greenville now serves as an anchor to downtown Greenville. I have been told that my grandfather liked to see people having a good time, so having this plaque near the playground is the perfect location. Our family thanks you all for this celebration, and thank you for remembering W.C. Cleveland.